Because of the following CBS News special report, tonight's CBS Late Movie will begin 30 minutes later than usual at 12:11 Central and Mountain.
This is an Eyewitness News Update with Chris Clark, live in Washington.
Senator Howard Baker has just walked into his campaign headquarters, flanked by his wife, Joy, and his daughter, Sissy Baker, now asking the reporters when they are ready to start. Watching the latest returns from network television, which shows him at about 14 to 15% of the delegates, depending on which services you listen to and what network you listen to.
Reagan 31, Bush 30, and Baker 16. Does that coincide with what you've got? Roughly. Okay. Okay. I'm ready when you're ready.
Go ahead. You got something to say?
Well, you know, I predicted that we would compete for third place, and you'd like to be second or like to be first, but we accomplished what we set out to do. In the span of a relatively few days, we put together a campaign organization that moved from nowhere to somewhere. There's certainly a long ways to go, and nothing I've just said detracts from the enormous success that George Bush has had and the good success that Ronald Reagan has had. But third place is a viable position in this campaign, and the campaign for the Republican presidential nomination has just begun. The first primary will be held in Puerto Rico and then in New Hampshire, and we'll continue to test. We'll continue to challenge. We'll continue to build and to climb one rung at a time. And I believe that Iowa proved that we can put together an organization, we can develop momentum, and we can go on from here.
Senator, you said that third place is satisfactory to you, but does it bother you that there seems to be a bigger span between second and third than between third and the rest?
Sure. I'd like to be closer than that, but you know, as I've said before, we're really jousting for third place. For a long time now, all of us, I think, who've looked at this thing have known that George Bush and Ronald Reagan were the clear front runners in Iowa. And the question was who was going to be number three, who was going to be third. And I'm proud that we won that contest at least. Obviously, I'd like to be second or like to be first, but that'll come in another day. I think we won what we set out to do, and we'll build from there.
Senator, how much longer can you keep coming in third and fourth and still maintain a viable campaign?
Oh, Chris, I think that you've got to build it a little at a time. And George Bush and Ronald Reagan are building on campaigns that began in '76 and then in '78. And we've been campaigning now really in Iowa for about 50 days. I think that the third place showing keeps us in the race, and I think that's the important point at this time.
When will you be number one?
Well, I hope I'm number one in July. But, you know, we climb one rung at a time. We'll go up the ladder one rung at a time. And the race now, I think, really is a three-man race. I think it's Reagan, Bush, and Baker. And we'll go into New Hampshire on that basis.
Don't you run a big risk, though, Senator, of people looking at that George Bush win? It's impressive over Ronald Reagan, Reagan being second, and the people believing that, well, it's a two-man race and Howard Baker is not one of the two men?
Lem, if you were going to decide this issue on the basis of organization at the caucus and precinct level, the chances are that the man who can do the organizational job George Bush has done will always win. We've tested that now, and George has done a magnificent job. But the next test is much more important. That is, how will we do in the primaries, in a much broader base of support? And that's what we will test in New Hampshire. Now, George Bush has a great momentum going for him. But this game isn't over by a long shot. The campaign is not over, and the nomination isn't won. The race, I think, now will be with Reagan, Bush, and Baker, and I will try very hard to move up that ladder, as I say, one rung at a time.
Do you feel comfortable calling this a three-man race when both the other two men in the three-man race got roughly twice as many votes as you did?
Well, I hope so. I think first, second, and third place is the way we set out to do this thing, win, place, or show. And
feel comfortable in third place in New Hampshire?
No, I certainly would not.
You expect to do better.
But I think New Hampshire is going to be a very different situation because I think we have a broader base of support. We've got a primary election to deal with there and not just a caucus system. You know, one of the things that was tested in Iowa was not only the ability to organize, but whether or not you had to do that for a couple of years in advance. And I think pretty clearly that paid off. George Bush has had a great opportunity to do that, as has Ronald Reagan. We started late. We've come a long, long way. And I'm satisfied with what we've done there. I would have been happier if we'd have done better, but we did well enough to go on to New Hampshire and to continue to climb up that ladder.
Public perception being what it is, after Maine, if you give that word, George Bush gained momentum as far as supporters and campaign funds. Does that mean then that a third place showing and with a spread so wide between second and third that this will hurt you in some way?
Sure.
Financially and organizationally?
We'll have to wait and see how that develops, but it always hurts when you're not first or not second. And I would not take away for one moment the great success that Bush has had. But the race isn't over, and the caucus results, the precinct caucus results in Iowa, do not determine the outcome. It gave a big push to George Bush, as did the convention endorsement or the convention straw vote in Maine. But the first primary has not yet been held. And I think third place is good enough to go ahead and test in that primary.
The last person to win first place, big, in Iowa, is now President of the United States. Does that precedent worry you?
The next preceding precedent behind that is George McGovern, who just got trounced.
We can choose our president.
Yeah, that's right. You know, whichever one suits you best. But it suits me to say that we did what we set out to do. I said early on that I had to win place or show in Iowa. I said earlier than that we were contesting for third place. I won third place. That's not as good as
Senator
second
Howard
place.
Baker, meeting with the news media here in Washington, says that he is satisfied with this third place win, and he can go on to New Hampshire and, if not win New Hampshire, at least do a lot better than 14% and keep his candidacy alive. This is Chris Clark reporting live from Baker for President headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Late night news is no one man's job. It takes a team of dedicated professionals like Chris Clark and the Eyewitness News team to keep you on top of what's happening, wherever it's happening, and often as it's happening. It's not a special assignment or new concept with us. It's the way we do news. The kind of news coverage that's helped you make us Nashville's #1 late night news again. The News at 10, the one to watch on Television 5.
The 1930s, the King of England, an American divorcee, key ingredients of the love affair that almost divided a nation and made headlines around the world. Known as the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, their passionate love story caused a constitutional crisis and cost the king his crown. He couldn't be crowned with her and wouldn't be without her. Edward and Mrs. Simpson, Wednesday night at 6:30 here on Television 5.
WTVF, Nashville.
Tonight on the CBS Late Movie, a double feature.